I love the healing power of food. Chicken broth is definitely one of my favorites. Chicken broth isn't some newfound trend. Our ancestors actually cooked bones and ligaments of animal parts for days until these released compounds and minerals like gelatin, collagen, calcium, and magnesium. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath. I love sharing natural remedies with people for better health. Natural remedies have been around for hundreds, even thousands of years because they work. Have you ever wondered why people tell you to enjoy chicken broth when you're ill? It's because chicken broth is a health boosting superhero to turn to when you're feeling under the weather. But when you're feeling under the weather, you don't want to make chicken soup. So it's always good to have a bit of this set aside, maybe in your freezer, or if you're one of the few people that are growing into this realm of canning foods, that's the easiest and quickest way to do it. Healing and protecting your gut and supporting your immune system is one of the things that a good chicken broth can do. It also helps to calm inflammation, and it has amazing nutritional value. I want to thank the website Health Coach FX, and I'll put a link to that in the description below for some of the information that I'm going to share with you today. So let's state the obvious here. Why not have it on a daily basis for prevention? Why wait until you're sick to have this health boosting superhero in your menu? I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope that you like this video and give me a thumbs up. I like to have you share this with other people and let them know also how healing chicken soup actually can be when it's made the right way. And I'm going to share my recipe with you today. So in the whole month of October, I'm going to just share some recipes and healing foods with you. In the fall and winter, we need to have food that's going to nourish us and ramp up our immune system. So how come chicken soup is healthy for us? Well, first let's talk about homemade chicken soup versus the store-bought. Usually when you buy chicken soup from the store in a can or in a glass bottle, it's going to have some kind of preservatives in it or things that make it shelf stable. It's going to have a lot more salt, and it's probably not going to have healthy salt like you could add to it, like maybe Himalayan salt or the pink Redmond clay salt. So much of the benefits of homemade chicken soup comes from the minerals and the collagen you get from the bones. Oh, my pointer doesn't work here. There we go. So it's really important to use a chicken that is not full of antibiotics or chemicals or other things, or raised in a way that is inhumane. You want free-range chicken whenever possible, grown with organic feed, maybe allowed to scratch and peck like it's supposed to in a barnyard. That would be the best way. So one of the tricks that when I can't get free-range, organically grown chicken, I'll buy a rotisserie roasted chicken from Costco. And I can leave a link below in a website that talks about the Costco chicken. Now, Costco hasn't hired me to talk about their chicken. I have no relationship with them at all. It's just something that I do that I find extremely economical. You can buy a chicken like this for like $5. It's really an incredible buy. And I'll tell you how I make 5 meals from this one chicken. So the first thing you want to do is make bone broth. Now, what's the difference between just making soup and making bone broth? Well, you can take a screenshot of this, but basically what you want to do is strip off as much of the meat as you possibly can. You only want the bones to go into your crock pot. And along with those bones, you're going to add a couple of cloves of garlic, 2 or 3 stalks of celery cut up, and a good sized carrot scrubbed and cut up. You want to add purified water to cover this mixture with about 1 inch or more above the bones. I often like to add some fresh herbs, and if I can't get fresh herbs, I will dry my own herbs, but you can get herbs, like you often find fresh herbs in where you find the vegetables, or you can get dried herbs and add those to your broth. It's going to bump up the nutrition. You know, there's a lot of wonderful things said about rosemary and thyme. And so I will add these. You can add whatever, you know, maybe you want to add a little ginger to it to make it warmer and healthier for your circulation. You might want to add a pepper. I'm not a fan of hot spicy foods, so these are not going to be something I'm going to add to my broth. Now, in order to get the minerals out of the bones and the gelatin, I use a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and that will help to, in time, release those minerals from the bone. And that's the #1 reason why you want to add the nutrition from a healthy chicken when you're making your bone broth. And I'll make all kinds of bone broth. I've made beef bone broth. I've made vegetable broth, but you're not going to get collagen from vegetables, at least not that I have ever read. You can use ham bones. You can use all kinds of things, but quality. You do not want to get your usual store-bought bones for making bone broth, because you're leaching all of the minerals out of those bones, and you don't want to leach out heavy metals. You can do this with, if you get a whole fish, you can throw the head in there. There's all kinds of wonderful recipes on the website, on YouTube, that talk about how you can go ahead and use fish and all these unusual things to make your broth. But generally speaking, chicken broth is so versatile. So I usually let this mixture cook a minimum of 12 hours. You can use a crock pot. More recently, I love my Instant Pot, because when I made it in a crock pot, I could smell it throughout the house. But when I make it in my Instant Pot, the seal is so good, you don't smell it. So after it's all cooked, you want to let it cool just a little bit, and then you want to strain it through a colander that's been lined with like a flour sack material. I use a thin cotton material, and then bring it all up in like a T-ball. You want to squeeze out all that goodness. And then I usually can get 2 to 3 quarts of broth from this. I'll often put a little bit of that broth in ice cube trays, and then you can take those, pop out a few, and saute vegetables with it. Now, that's not included in the 5 recipes I'm going to talk to you about. So the first recipe is some kind of soup. So I'll take this broth and I'll, usually it's just the 2 of us. So usually I use a pint of broth for our soup, and that's generally enough for us to have a meal. And to this broth, I'll add some celery, some green beans, maybe some rice, maybe some beans, or I'll make a basic chicken noodle soup. Another meal would be a chicken bake. I'll flake up some of the chicken and put a bit of the broth in it, and I'll bake it with celery and broccoli and rice. And after baking it, if the broth is liquidy, I kind of like a thicker sauce, so I'll add either cornstarch or arrowroot to the mixture, and that makes a lovely dinner, and it really stretches it. Sometimes I will take the half of the chicken and freeze it, because normally we can't eat chicken every night. We get bored with that. Another way we like to have it is with for a lunch. We'll take and chop up the chicken and celery and add some mayonnaise, some pecans, little chives, and that makes a great sandwich spread. Another way is to use the broth is to make a curry. So I will saute some vegetables in a little bit of the broth, and then I will add a bit of curry. I don't like it hot, so I usually let my husband add more curry to his portion. And then I'll thicken it, and we'll serve this over steamed brown rice, and that's another meal. Now, the 5th meal is sometimes a pot pie, or if I don't want to make a crust, I'll use some leftover mashed potatoes and make like a shepherd's pie with chicken and veggies, and that's really, really wonderful. So there's 5 meals, and I spent $5 for the chicken. The broth was basically free, a few little vegetables here and there. So you can really eat 5 meals very economically for this one, using this one chicken. When you cook it, the broth separately like that, and you take the meat off of the bone. So these are nutritious meals that you can have for your family that are going to benefit your immune system, your joints, all kinds of wonderful things. So think of collagen as the glue that holds your body together. In fact, collagen comes from the Greek word kolla, meaning glue. It's the fibrous protein found throughout your body in organs and muscles and skin, in hair and nails and teeth, bones, blood vessels, tendons, joints, cartilage, and your digestive system. Now, I have several neighbors that are dealing with osteoporosis, arthritis, hip replacements, and I would bet you that they would really benefit by introducing this beautiful collagen. Now, when it says glue, it's not like the glue you get from eating bread that's a starchy glue that gums up the lymphatic system. This is premium collagen that offers effective, pure protein. When we don't eat the chicken, we love to add this powdered collagen. It is a wonderful, pure, grass-fed, organic source that we can put in any kind of a drink to make sure that all of these organs and muscles, skin, hair, nail are getting the nutrition they need, to grow healthy, and that our digestive system is functioning properly. So studies have shown that when collagen hydrotrolysate is taken orally, it is absorbed as di and tripeptides, 2 or 3 amino acids, typically rich in hydroxyproline. These smaller peptides are believed to enter circulation and reach target tissues like skin or cartilage, where they support collagen-producing cells or fibroblasts. People that complain about carpal tunnel, maybe it's because they're collagen deficient. When we have bones that aren't sloughing off and building, that's osteoclasts and osteoblasts, they're not making these quick enough. It might be because of a collagen deficiency. Starting at the age of 35, collagen production naturally begins to slow, which can have all sorts of negative effects on your body. And by the age of 40, you deplete faster than your body can reproduce it. So you're thinking, oh, this is for the people that are 60 and 70. No, this is the 40-year-old begins to deplete faster. And by the time you're 60, over half of your body's collagen has been depleted. So in addition to aging, many other factors impact collagen levels, and these include genetics, smoking, pollution, excessive sun exposure, and nutritional deficiencies, among others. So adding a collagen supplement to your daily regime is essential. Now, here's the trick. If you bring your skin up like this and it doesn't immediately down, that's a lack of collagen. The ability for your skin to have the elasticity it needs and the fullness it needs. We talk about thin skin. Well, that could be one of the problems. So now if you want to make sure that you get a dose of collagen every day, you might want to look at the supplement. I'll put an attachment below in the descriptions to tell you the one that I use and how you can get it. And you can look into other ones, but I really love the quality and the easeability. My husband loves the fact that he can just stir this right in with his drink mix in the morning and not even know it's there because it has no taste. And yet he's getting the nutrition he needs. Now you can use the broth in all kinds of ways. I like to add a little bit to my scrambled eggs. And there, you can get really inventive, especially with children. So, children need a healthy immune system as well. But as one ages, it seems that joint health becomes more and more an issue. And when you're dealing with like hip replacements and things like that, that you're not getting the nutrition your body needs. So why collagen? Collagen is the single most abundant protein in the body, comprising 1/3 of total proteins, and it forms the structural foundation upon which beauty is built. So if you want healthy, glowing skin and hair and nails, then you really should think about putting a collagen supplement in your daily routine. So this fibrous protein of the extracellular matrix supports tissues, including skin, and it supports hair and nails. It's rich in amino acids like glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. So these amino acids help provide collagen's characteristic fiber-like structure, and it's actually the infrastructure of the body. So it allows for strength, which they refer to as rigidity, but I consider it strength, and resistance to stretching. So like I said about the skin, it can pop right back to where it should. Human studies show that collagen supports skin health by promoting elasticity and hydration. So these important benefits aid in promoting and maintaining a more youthful appearance. So if that's something that you're interested in, go for it. So according to a report prepared in collaboration with the International Osteoporosis Foundation, the IOF, and the European Federation of Pharmaceutical Industry Associations, the etiology of osteoporosis includes a lack of physical activity, malnutrition, underlying diseases, drug ingestion. That's people that are taking cholesterol reducing drugs you can look into it, do your own research, but what I have found, they have the most hip replacement of any other drug ingestion. So there's other modifiable factors such as structure, the way you work, the way you stand, the way you sit. These can all be factors in this. And then there's aging and gender and familiar predispositions. In other words, your attitude has a lot to do with it. So adequate prevention or therapy of osteoporosis is a very important goal for an individual and public health, because osteoporotic bone fractures are responsible for chronic pain, and we know we're in epidemic of opioid use because of pain, inactivity, and invalidity in the elderly. So in other words, when invalids, they're talking about in people that just sit around. So you're contributing more to the condition by not walking, not exercising, not breathing properly. So it is estimated that worldwide, every third woman and 1 in 5 men over the age of 50 will sustain an osteoporotic-induced bone fracture. So that is really important for people to understand. Now, I love chiropractic. Chiropractic helps to move the bones to get nutrition into the cell structure of the spine, and it helps to distribute better nutrition by relieving the stuck energy. So that and vitamin D. I am so sold on vitamin D. The vitamin D status is related to bone mineral density and bone turnover. Remember, I talked about the osteoclast and osteoblast. Vitamin D supplementation may decrease bone turnover and increase bone mineral density. So in other words, you can build at a good rate while you're breaking down the old bone so that you're building better bone. So several randomized placebo-controlled trials with vitamin D. And now that people talk about where's the science, vitamin D is the most scientifically researched of any, and it's really not a vitamin. It really is a hormone, and it's used in over 400 functions of the body, so it is really, really necessary. And for so many years, we were told to use sunscreens and stay out of the sun, and really what we needed was common sense approach, and that was not, because of the chemicals involved in sunscreen, not a sensible approach to being overexposed to the sun. So this, you can find so much information. Yeah, I'm not a fan of PubMed, but occasionally there is some really good information on it. And the reason I'm not a fan is that it's so supported by the pharmaceutical industry that you'll find a lot of drug information that I think that people need to use drugs as a last resort and start using nutrition as their first resort. So how much vitamin D? Well, there is as yet no common definition of optimum vitamin D status. It's so individual. Um, there is some wonderful testing that is more commonplace now than it was 10 years ago, and it can really tell whether or not you're deficient in vitamin D. So I would suggest that you talk to your doctor and ask him or her to do a vitamin D test so that you know what level you're at. But most of the research that's done on it, you want between 70 and 80 nanoliters per milligram. And that's for fracture prevention. So this is the vitamin D that I love. It's to help improve bone health and boost immune and mood during the cloudy months with vitamin D3. You want to take in vitamin D3, not D2. Now the D2 is what's chemically derived and put in milk, and it's totally useless because your body can't break it down. So now it does come in two forms, vitamin D2, but remember we want the form that is D3 because it's more bioactive. The body synthesizes vitamin D3 from cholesterol and sunlight, which makes it difficult to obtain adequate amounts of vitamin D during the cloudy or winter months. We live in Michigan. I'm certainly not going to go out there and sunbathe in December. It's just not. In fact, I don't do it anyway, but I do get out there quite a bit when the sun is shining in the lovely weather that we sometimes have here in Michigan. So in the body, vitamin D is responsible for maintaining normal blood levels of calcium and phosphorus and helping to build strong bones. It works with other vitamins and minerals and hormones to promote bone mineralization. So I feel that it works. It's a great complement to collagen. Now, research shows that vitamin D may help support a healthy immune system by regulating lymphocyte function, cytokine production, and macrophage activity. Studies also show that vitamin D may improve mood. Now, a lot of people suffer from seasonal affective disorder, and I cannot tell you that it's a good remedy for it because the FTC does not allow me to say that. So I can't tell you that. But for autumn and winter here in Michigan, I will take between 3,000 and 4,000 milligrams of vitamin D on a daily basis. And I usually like to take it first thing in the morning because I feel the sun rises in the morning. And so I take my vitamin D in the morning. Now, you certainly can get it from like mackerel and salmon and tuna, but those are not something I'm going to have on a regular basis in enough measure to ramp up the vitamin D as I need it. And we're finding more and more toxicity in our oceans. And so I just really think that it's a concern to have fish every day. Now, I want you to take a look at what this says right here and put your own research together on what they're talking about with this virus and cytokine storms. That's a pro-inflammatory situation. And so some of the things that I recommend during this time are also vitamin A, vitamin C, D, and zinc. These are really, really important to take if you want to prevent coming down with flu or being sick during this season. And I'll leave it at that. So to sum it up, let's put it all together and help support your immune system by, in the fall and winter months, by making some delicious bone broth, save on some wonderful, delicious food. And if you can't do the bone broth, then take some collagen supplement. This is the one that I love. And here's my vitamin D3 that I take on a daily basis. And I usually start the beginning of September. So I've been already ramping up my vitamin D since September. So you want to make sure that you're getting enough nutrition to help your immune system and support good bone health during the fall and winter months. Get out there, do some movement. My favorite thing is Tai Chi in the wintertime. So you can watch some videos. There are some great videos on Tai Chi. I have over 50 videos on my YouTube link, so just search through. What do you find interesting? Maybe there's something on preparing or herbal first aid, or some different emergency tips. Share these videos with those people that that you care about. Stay tuned on this coming Saturday. I'm going to be doing, I call it an herbal hour. Sometimes it lasts just a little bit longer. I try to keep these Tuesday videos within a half hour, but this one is going to be a lot more information on the adrenal stress response, because I feel that stress is a huge factor in most chronic conditions. So I'd like you to keep focusing on gratitude. Don't forget to email me, drmary@bornforhealth.com, or like, comment, share, subscribe to these videos. If you hit the little bell, you'll get a link to the class each time they're available, which is usually once a week. So thank you for viewing. Until next time, this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It, and have a fabulous day.